Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a bracelet today, and I'm going to use some of the beads that came in the most recent Potomac Beads Treasure Edition subscription box called Gilded Glamour. I will put a link in the corner of this video and in the description box below that will take you directly to the unboxing video that I did for this box in case you didn't get to see it and you decide you want to watch it, where I go into a little bit more detail about the subscription and all. But they have two different subscriptions. They have a treasure edition and a kit edition. I think in the kit edition you get 3 different projects that you can make that have everything in them that you need to make whatever the piece of jewelry is. But this is the treasure edition that I get. I will also put a link in the description box below that will take you directly to the page on the Potomac Beads website that will tell you all about the subscriptions and everything, and where you can sign up for it if you want to. I'm going to be using the 4mm check faceted rounds that came in the box. These are Aztec Gold was the color on these. I'm going to be using the 3x4mm Potomac Crystal Rondelle beads. Dark Garnet AB was the color. I'm going to be using the 11-0 Miyuki seed beads that came in the box. Duracoat Galvanized Light Champagne was the color. I've got a little toggle clasp and a couple of jump rings and a couple of wire guards in here that I'm going to be using. I've got my 8-pound fire line and smoke. I've got 2 size 11 tulip beading needles. I'm only going to use one, but I use an extra one to add on thread and have it close by in case I lose the one I'm using and need to have another one. I'm going to be using my chain nose pliers and my bent chain nose pliers when I put the clasp on at the end, and I use my chain nose pliers to flatten the thread so I can get it through the needle. And then I've got my cutters to cut my fire line with. But before I get started, I just want to tell y'all this is just a very simple right angle weave design with a little bit of embellishment. There's nothing unique or original about it. I'm just using some basic techniques and stitches that I've learned from many different people over the years. I wouldn't have any idea who the first person was who came up with these techniques and stitches. I doubt anybody could tell you that. I'm trying to make this very clear because I was recently attacked by a lady who accused me of copying other people's designs and never coming up with an original idea of my own. When you only do the basic stitches like I do, it's very likely that you're going to end up making something very similar to what other people make. There's only so many ways to sew these beads together. I've said many times I've never come up with an original bead weaving design, and I likely never will. I've spent hours and hours trying to come up with an original design, and I spent hours trying to come up with this, just trying to get the spacing the way I wanted it and all, but I just can't seem to come up with anything original or unique. I really admire those that can, and I would never fail to give them credit if something I make is inspired by their design. I knew when I started this, I mean, you know, when you put yourself out there on social media, it's inevitable you're going to get somebody saying something mean to you. I'm amazed it's taken this long. It's been a little over 6 months now, and you all have been nothing but amazing to me. You're always so encouraging and sweet and kind to me, so uplifting, and this is the first mean comment I've gotten. I thought I had prepared myself for it and that it wouldn't bother me. I was wrong. It's bothered me a lot. I can't find the comment now. It seems to have disappeared. I tortured myself for days by going back and looking at it, but it's not there anymore. I didn't remove it. I don't believe in doing that. I mean, unless it's something that I think would be offensive to you all, I would remove a comment like that. I guess she might have removed it because I did comment back to her and address the problem she seemed to have with me. Or it's possible YouTube removed it. They'll do that if they think a comment is offensive or particularly hateful. But I just wanted to tell you all that and let you know that I will always give credit where credit is due if I make a piece that's inspired by somebody else's design, like the magic carpet bracelet of Kelly Dale's from Off the Beaded Path that I did. Well, first of all, I wouldn't do a video on it without asking permission like I did with her, and she was very sweet and allowed me to do it. But sometimes I just like to follow somebody else's pattern and make pieces. It just allows me not to have to think so hard when somebody else has already done the thinking for me. And I've done that, and I've showed them to you in finished jewelry videos, but I've always told you whose pattern it is and linked their video, and of course I will always do that. So I just wanted to tell you all that. before I got started. So hold on, I'll get some of my beads poured out and I'll be back. Okay, I've got some of my beads poured out here now, and I've got my needle threaded, and I'm got a stop bead on here, and I'm leaving about 8 inches of tail. It's not going to take really very much at all to sew my wire guardian on when I'm done. I usually start with about 6 feet of thread, but you really should just start with whatever amount of thread you're comfortable working with. You're probably going to have to add thread on before you get this done. And it's really frustrating to work with too much thread and get knots. Believe me, I know. I'm going to pick up 3 of my 11-0s, a rondelle, 1 11-0, a rondelle, 3 11-0s, a rondelle, 1 11-0, and a rondelle. So that's what I've got there. Now I need to get a little bit closer, I guess. So that's what I've got. 3 11-0s, a rondelle, 1 11-0, a rondelle, 3 11-0s, a rondelle, 1 11-0, and a rondelle. I'm going to bring them all down here to my stop bead. And I'm going to sew them into a circle. Sew around all the beads again to get them good and tightened. Tighten them up. Sew till I get past my stop bead again. I'm going to come out that rondelle there past my stop bead. Okay, now when I'm here to the rondelles that just have one 11-0 between them, I'm going to pick up 3 11-0s. I've got some beads over here to the side that I'm using so that I don't have to keep reaching across the screen in front of y'all. I'm going to go from this rondelle to this rondelle. Skip over that 11-0. That puts a little picot there. Now when I get to this one here that's got 3 seed beads, I'm going to go through this first seed bead. And I'm going to skip over that middle seed bead and go into the third seed bead and pull my thread through. And when I pull my thread through, I'm going to make sure that it lands under that middle seed bead. Just pull it up there and pull it tight so that it'll land under there and make that middle one pop out like that. Now I'm going to go through my rondelle. I'm going to pick up 3 11-0s because I'm here to the one where I just have 1 seed bead between my rondelles. I'm going to go from rondelle to rondelle, skipping over that 11-0 there. Get my stop thread out of the way. It makes that little picot there. Now I'm going to do this again where I'm going to go through just 1 seed bead here. Push my stop bead out of the way there. And now here I'm just going to sew through, no beads on my needle. I'm just going to sew through this 11-0. Skip that middle 11-0 and sew through the third 11-0, and then make my middle 11-0 pop up here, pull it so my thread goes in under there and makes that one there pop up. And the reason I did these different is because I want two of my units to have 4, and I only want one of them or 2 of them to have only 3, which is why I did that way. So now I'm going to go through this rondelle, and now I'm going to go into that seed bead on the inside there. Oh, I forgot I don't have to do that on this one. Well, it's fine. I'm going to go through this this rondelle, and I'm going to sew till I come out the tip of this one of my units here that only has 3 seed beads, which is the one across from where my stop bead is. So now I'm gonna, that's what I've got now. Now I'm gonna make my next unit. Okay, now I'm gonna pick up 1 seed bead, and this time I'm gonna use my gold beads, and I'm gonna pick up a gold bead. And the reason I'm picking up just 1 seed bead is this is where I want 3 seed beads between my big beads, and I've already got 1. So I'm going to have 1 seed bead on this side and 1 seed bead on this side when I get done. So I'm going to pick up 1 seed bead, a gold bead. Well, my seed beads are gold too, I guess, but 1 seed bead, a 4mm bead, 1 seed bead, another 4mm bead, 3 seed beads, a 4mm bead, 1 seed bead, a 4mm bead, and 1 seed bead. So that's what I've got this time. So I'm coming out the top of this 11-0. I'm going to go in the bottom of it. Just circle around there. So see, I've got my 3 seed beads here already, and then I've got 3 seed beads opposite, which is what I want. Now I'm going to sew through all the beads again, all the 11-0s and all the 4mm beads. Sew around till I'm coming out, get back around here to where I connected. Go through that bead there that I connected to. Now I'm going to sew through this 11-0 and this 4mm. Now I'm just have 1 seed bead between my big beads there, so I'm going to pick up 3 11-0s. And I'm going to go from 4mm to 4mm and skip over that seed bead in the middle there. Now I'm going to go through this 1 seed bead, and then I'm going to skip that middle seed bead and go into the third one. And I'm going to pull my middle bead up there with my needle so that my thread will pop under there and make it pop out like that. Now I'm going to go through this 4mm bead, and I'm going to pick up 3 11/0s. I'm going to go from this 4mm to this 4mm and skip over the one in the middle. I'm going to go on through that seed bead after there because I'm going to be doing that anyway. So, and it seems like it wants to go through there. Sometimes you just have to let the needle do what it wants to. I'm going to pull that down, make my little picot there. And if your picot doesn't fall the way you want it to, just pull it back out and pull it back down again. Now, I went through that 11/0 after that 4mm. I'm going to go through my connecting 11/0. No, I'm not. I'm going to go straight across here and bypass that connecting 11/0 to bring these two in the middle here together, or these two on either side closer together. And I'm going to go through that 4mm bead while I'm at it there. Okay. Now this time I'm going to go into this 11/0 on the inside here. And now I'm going to pick up one of my little rondelle beads here. And I'm coming out the top of this a little 11/0. I'm going to go across here and go in the bottom of this one to put it diagonally across there. And now I'm going to go back through this rondelle. Hold my finger over that rondelle so it doesn't try to pop out. And now this time I'm going to come, I started by coming out the top of this little 11/0. I'm going to go in the bottom of it, and that's going to center my rondelle there a little bit better. So that's what I've got. Now I'm going to sew up until I'm coming out the tip of my little 11/0 on the tip here to make my next unit. And now I'm going to do another unit like this one. So I'm going to pick up one 11/0, a rondelle, one 11/0, a rondelle, 3 11/0s, a rondelle, one 11/0, a rondelle, and one 11/0. I'm coming out the top of this 11/0. I'm going to go in the bottom. Now I'm going to sew around all the beads again. Don't get hooked around your picot like I just almost did. Around all the beads and all the seed beads and all the big beads. And I'm going to go back into that connecting bead this time. Next time around I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go into this 11-0 and this rondelle. I'm here where there's just one seed bead, so I'm going to pick up 3 11-0s. I'm going to go from this rondelle into this rondelle, skipping over that seed bead in the center, and see that didn't land the way I want it to, so I'm going to pull those back out and pull them back down again until they land like I want them to. Now I'm going to go into this one seed bead, skip the one in the center, and go through the third one. Pull the middle one up with my needle so that my thread will go under there and get that to pop up there like I want it to. And now I'm going to go into this rondelle, and pick up 3 11-0s. I go from this rondelle to this rondelle and skip over the one in the middle. Skip over the 11-0 in the middle. Pull that out and pull it down till it gets the way I want it to look. Now I'm going to go through this 11-0. And I'm going to skip that connecting 11-0, and I'm going to go in this 11-0 on this side of it. Probably doesn't really matter. You probably could go through that connecting 11-0 and it would still be fine, but I just do it this way. Okay, so there's that. And I ended up coming out that 11-0 there, so I'm going to sew through this one on the tip. And through this one, and through my rondelle. And up until I'm coming out the tip of this 11-0 here on the tip. So that's what I've got now. So now I'm going to make one more of my units with the gold, and then I'll leave y'all alone. Okay, now I'm going to pick up one 11-0, one of my 4mm beads, one 11-0, one of my 4mm beads, 3 11-0s, one of my 4mm beads, one 11-0, one of my 4mm beads, and one 11-0. Now I'm coming out the top of this 11-0. I'm going to go in the bottom of it. I'm going to go back around all the beads again. Just sewing around all the seed beads and all the 4mm beads to tighten my unit up here. This time I'm going to go ahead and go through that connecting 11-0 there. Now I'm going to go into my 11-0 and come out just the 4mm. Now here I'm going to pick up 3 11-0s. Skip over the 11-0 in the middle there and go into my 4mm. So I'm just going from 4mm to 4mm. My needle wants to go ahead and go through that 11-0, so I'm going to let it because I would be anyway. My picot will form there. Now I'm already through this first 11-0. I'm going to go skip over the middle one and go into the third one there. pull my middle 11-0 up and make my thread go under it. Now I'm going to go through this 4mm, pick up 3 11-0s, I'm going to skip over this 11-0 in the middle and go into this 4mm. And my needle wants to go on through that 11-0, so I'm going to let it, because I would be anyway. I'm going to pull that out and pull it back down until it's sitting the way I want it to be sitting. Now this time I'm just going to go, I'm going to skip that connecting 11-0 and go into this 11-0 on the other side of it. And I'm going to go into this 4mm. And I thought I could get through that next bead, but I didn't. Now I'm going to go through this 11-0 here on the inside. I'm going to pick up one of my rondelles. And I'm coming out the top of this 11-0. I'm going to go in the bottom of this one on the opposite side that's on the inside of my unit here. I have to turn it around here so I can get a better angle on it. Pull it till it comes between my unit there. Now I'm going to go back through my rondelle. I'm going to hold on to my rondelle or it'll try to come popping up out of there. Now I started coming out the top of this 11-0. I'm going to go in the bottom of it. I'm going to go into this 4mm and this 11-0. And I'm going to come out the tip of this 11-0. And now I'm going to make another unit with my rondelles, and I'm just going to keep doing that, alternating until I get the length that I want. I don't know how many units it's going to take because I've not made a whole bracelet yet, but I'm going to try to end with a unit of rondelles so that the ends will match. So when I get all that done, I'll be back. Okay, I've got the length that I want now, and I've already sewed this end of my wire guardian on, and I've come back to my starting thread here where I had my stop bead on, and I took my stop bead off and put a needle on it, and I'm going to sew the other side of my wire guardian on just the same way as I already did that one. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0. I'm coming out this 11-0 here on the tip. I'm going to pick up an 11-0, one of my 4mm beads, and another 11-0 in my wire guardian. I'll come down the other channel of the wire guardian, and the 11-0 and the 4mm. I'll hold my finger over the wire guardian so the thread will fall in the channel there. Now I'm going to pick up another 11-0, and I started coming out the top of this 11-0 here on the tip. I'm going to go in the bottom of it. And now I'm just going to go around all that again. I'm going to go up this 11-0, this 4mm, and this 11-0. Back into my wire guardian. Back down the other channel of my wire guardian. Hold my finger over the wire guardian. Back down into my 11/0 and my 4mm. Back into the 11/0 on the other side. Back into this 11/0 that I started in. Now I'm going to go around it one more time. I'm going to go up this 11/0, the 4mm, the 11/0 above the 4mm, back into the wire guardian, back down the other tail of the wire guardian, hold my finger over it, back into the 11/0, in the 4mm, back into the 11/0 on the other side, back into this 11/0. Now I'm just going to sew down through here and make some half-hitch knots and tie off my thread. Go under this thread bridge here. Go back through my loop. Pull my thread down slowly. Go through another bead. Go under this thread bridge. Through the loop, pull my thread down slowly, make sure it lands between the beads and not on top of them. That one almost went on top of it. Go through a couple more beads. Probably should have left a little bit more than 8 inches of tail. I'm going to go under this thread bridge, go through the loop, pull the thread down slowly. Now I'm going to go through a couple more beads and then cut off my thread. Okay, so hold on, let me get my findings and we'll put those on. I'll be back. Okay, now I'm going to put my clasp on. So I've got a 6mm jump ring here. I'm going to open it up. Be sure to get my jump ring closed really well. There we go. We're all done. So I ended up making 6 of my units with my rondelles and 5 of my units with my 4mm Aztec gold beads. Let me measure it here. I forget to do that sometimes, and I know you all ask me sometimes. Before the findings, I've got about 6 inches of just beads before I put the findings on. And then after I put my clasp on and everything, I'm at about a little over 7 1/4 inches there. So hold on, let me get some of my beads cleaned up here and I'll be back. Okay, there's my bracelet all done. I started with about 6 feet of thread, and I didn't have to add on thread, so 6 feet should be enough to do it with. Like I said, I'll leave the link to the page on the Potomac Beads website that will tell you all about the subscriptions and everything in case you want to check it out. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified the next time I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Take care.